After the Carson Wentz and Matt Stafford trade, two more teams got their QB going forward. But there's still plenty of teams without a true franchise quarterback. Chris Lovitt and I look at the NFC teams in the market for a QB. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more NFL videos.
If we look at the Washington football team, I think they have kind of a weird situation that they're in too. Like they signed Tyler Heineke obviously to a 2-year deal, but that's kind of more of a maybe backup. They gave him like backup quarterback money. So then are you going to start him? I'm not sure about that. And then you would have Alex Smith, or they could obviously draft a quarterback as well in the first round, or even they could try to trade for Deshaun Watson. Who knows? And kind of a long shot, obviously, could be maybe they want to bring in Cam Newton to kind of reunite him with Ron Rivera. So this one is for me, it's a really tough one to call. But I could actually see the Cam Newton thing happening.
Yeah, that was my prediction as well. And when you think back from that Carolina team in 2016 when Cam took them to the Super Bowl, the team's fairly similar to the roster that Washington have now. Obviously without Cam Newton, they had a great defense, pretty good coaching, and then pretty average players across the offense. Really, they had Greg Olson. But there wasn't, huge heaps of talent on the offensive side of the ball, and the scheme that Rivera runs hasn't changed much. And yeah, I like this, remarriage almost of Cam to the Washington football team. I know they signed Heineke, but the money they paid him doesn't indicate that they think he's good enough to start for them. There are also other free agents, if Darnold gets dealt, maybe even Marcus Mariota as well. I think Washington do have some options, and obviously dependent on whether Dak signs, with Dallas, the door to the NFC East is still wide open, and Washington obviously hold the NFC East at the moment, and I think getting Cam Newton just puts them in an even better position to retain that. So yeah, I also think Cam could go to Washington. And then if we look at the Niners, Niners are, quite an intriguing one. They've still got that excellent defense, and we saw Jimmy G take this team to the Super Bowl just only 2 years ago. So I think they probably will ride with Jimmy G again. The only real, I guess, trade destination that I could possibly see would be if they dealt him back to the Patriots. Obviously, they have a chance of getting Deshaun Watson if reports are to be believed, but I think that's maybe more of an outside chance. And one really, I guess, outside prediction would be if Matt Ryan ended up in San Francisco. I mean, I would like to see that reunion with Kyle Shanahan, but I think with cap constraints, that makes it quite hard. So I probably imagine Jimmy G does stay as the Niners quarterback, and they run it back with him.
Yeah, I cannot. Unfortunately, I mean, I like Jimmy G and all, but I would have loved to see maybe a change at the quarterback position this year. But I think they're going to stick with Jimmy G as well. I don't think they're going to risk it all on a Deshaun Watson trade, depending on what the Texans would want for him. And yeah, obviously there was a kind of a rumor going around that they could trade for Kirk Cousins, which I would absolutely hate because I don't think he's better than Jimmy G. I mean, we already seen it in like head-to-head matchup between the two. The Cousins cannot really make the difference. And I don't think that they will draft a quarterback at number 12 because I think the top 5 guys might all be gone by then. And I'm not sure you want to just draft a quarterback just so you can draft a quarterback. You need to really be like invested in someone, and you really need to be in love with a quarterback to take one in the first round. So yeah, my prediction would also be to just stick with Jimmy G. And then kind of if we look at some teams that are more or less certain as well to kind of keep their quarterback, but it's always a kind of a question mark with the Cowboys. Like they have to kind of sign Dak Prescott. I don't think they will not sign him, but it's just a question of for how many years, or if they just slap another franchise tag on him.
Yeah, I don't see any scenario where Dak leaves Dallas. I think Dallas have stupidly, and they've played themselves into paying him even more money than they offered him the first time. But yeah, I think Dallas definitely. I think Dak definitely stays with Dallas, whether it's a 1-year deal or a long-term deal. And then looking at the Vikings as well, I can't really see any way that again that Cousins isn't their starter. They've got some excellent young weapons now in Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Yeah, I know. Obviously, everyone says that Kirk's robbed a living. He's earned so much money over the past few years, but I can't see anyone taking on that contract that he's got. And yeah, I think he'll stay in Minnesota.
Yeah, I definitely also think that Cousins is going to stay in Minnesota. And also, if we look at the Bears, that's kind of a weird situation there. They having like they were kind of in on Carson Wentz, or it seems if you believe reports, but they didn't really push hard enough, I guess, because surely they could have matched the Colts' offer for Carson Wentz. So it seems like they might go all in on Deshaun Watson, or otherwise, I guess Mitch Trubisky is their quarterback for another season. I mean, I don't think they're going to have any chance with him in the NFC North, but I guess that would be my prediction. They're just going to ride the Trubisky train one more year.
Yeah, the Bears situation definitely isn't a very good one. I mean, they've got a horrible O-line, very limited weapons, as Allen Robinson's almost definitely leaving in free agency. The reason I think the Bears didn't push hard enough for Wentz would be that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are both on the hot seat in quite a big way. I mean, this is pretty much the last chance for both of them. I was actually surprised they both kept their jobs. And I think for them, if they were to have gone after Wentz and put almost their jobs on the line with Carson Wentz, that's probably not the smartest move. So I honestly could see the Bears trying to sign more of an experienced quarterback, whether they do make a huge run at Deshaun Watson, whether it's Sam Darnold, maybe even someone like a Cam Newton, just to give them a bit of stability, because key people in that organization can't have another bad season.
When we look at the last division, we haven't really touched on the NFC South. I think there's three teams in that division that kind of have a question mark at quarterback. If we start off with the Panthers, there we have like apparently Teddy Bridgewater unfollowed all of the social media accounts of the team, which I don't know why he did that. Maybe to just focus on football and get rid of his social media, but otherwise that could just mean that they're really serious in either like releasing him or trying to trade him to Houston for Deshaun Watson. But it seems like they're really serious about getting him. And otherwise, I think they could still just draft a quarterback because they're quite well positioned in the first round and just use Teddy Bridgewater as a bridge quarterback. I think, and for me, I think the one thing that's going to happen is they're going to stick with Teddy Bridgewater for this season and just have draft a quarterback to have one kind of in hand. And maybe you do the transition this year.
And over the past week, I think the Panthers have probably emerged as like the favorite to land Deshaun Watson. If there's definitely a lot of hype around it. Giving up multiple first round picks, McCaffrey, Anderson, Burns, Bridgewater, giving up a huge haul to get Deshaun Watson. And I mean, again, the Panthers do have flexibility. They have the number 8 pick in the draft. They obviously, you would probably expect someone like a Trey Lance to be around then, who would probably be another good fit. Or they could even trade up to number 3 with Miami. But I think this is, even though the Panthers do need to upgrade their O-line, this is definitely an offense the quarterbacks want to play in. Like the offense that Joe Brady runs is, very QB friendly. QBs are going to put up a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, and probably make a lot of money. So this could also be an attractive destination for a stopgap free agent, maybe someone like a Mariota or a Newton if Bridgewater does get dealt. But if I was going to give a prediction, I probably think that Teddy B does stay with Carolina, and I think he's their quarterback on the opening day. And I think they probably do draft a Trey Lance with the 8th pick. And then looking at the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees still hasn't officially retired yet, but I think it's all but going to happen. There's no way that Drew Brees comes back, which means they've got Taysom Hill signed to their roster, and they've got Jameis, who's an unrestricted free agent. I think Jameis might be looking elsewhere, somewhere where he can get some guaranteed starts and, almost like a fresh start. he obviously could stay, and maybe they run this 2 QB system again with Taysom Hill and Jameis. But the Saints have huge cap problems, and this isn't a team that's going to be able to build another Super Bowl roster for, a good few years, you would imagine. So maybe not a veteran would come to New Orleans. Maybe they look for Drew Brees' successor in the draft. Maybe they trade up. I will predict that they will draft a quarterback who will sit behind Hill or Winston if they re-sign him on a shorter deal. But yeah, I think that New Orleans will try and get their future QB in round 1.
Yeah, I definitely think obviously Drew Brees is going to retire, and he reworked his contract kind of to give the Saints a bit more of a cap flexibility. But I don't think they're going to be in a position to draft a quarterback because that high up in that far behind in draft, like in their range, they won't have a good quarterback left to draft, and I'm not sure they can afford to trade up all the way to snag one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. So for me, I think they're going to try to re-sign Jameis Winston and have him as the starter next year, and just mix in Taysom Hill whenever they feel like it, because he's definitely not ready to be a starting quarterback. But who knows with Sean Payton, maybe he's just going to try out the Hill experience for an entire season. Yeah, my ultimate prediction would be just they're going to re-sign Jameis Winston and roll with him for next year. And then, yeah, the last team to look at would be the Falcons. And that one it's kind of a tough situation because of Matt Ryan's contract. And I think they kind of have to stick with him because nobody would be able to kind of take him off their hands. But I still think they're going to just draft a quarterback. Maybe I think they could probably land Justin Fields and then just have him sit behind Matt Ryan for one season and then get him as the new starting quarterback in 2022.
Yeah, if Atlanta didn't have the big Julio Jones and Matt Ryan contracts, I think they would probably try and tear the whole thing down and rebuild, trading both of them away. But yeah, I think Ryan's cap number makes that almost impossible. So I think this could be another situation where you draft a young quarterback to sit behind Matt Ryan, like you suggested. And yeah, I think Justin Fields is probably going to be the top quarterback available. Maybe even Trey Lance if a team trades up to draft Fields with third pick. But yeah, this is sitting in this offense behind Matt Ryan is going to be good for a young quarterback. So yeah, I think they draft Ryan's successor and yeah, let him sit for a year.